Southern Portugal, in the middle of a baking summer, is the ideal destination for holidaymakers and fun lovers from all over the world. But aside from the pristine beaches, jet-set yachts and picturesque fishing ports, the south coast town of Portimao recently added another international attraction. All the glamour and colour of round 3 of the 2009 Le Mans series, the first in championship history to be run entirely at night, and it's here at the brand spanking new Algarve Autodromo Internazionale. Incentive enough to entice out even the odd werewolf out onto the track. This race could well prove to be the turning point of the season after Catalonia and Francorchamps, and before the Nurburgring and the season finale at Silverstone in September. The 2009 season got underway on the first weekend of April at the famous Catalonia circuit in Spain. Surprise pole sitter, the Ginetta Zytek, was swamped at the start by the roaring Aston Martins, while further back it got a little too close for comfort. The speedy Subaru Lola raced into the early lead, while the Pescarolo racing Judd fought a battle royale with Darren Turner's Aston. The race went the full 6 hours and was an incident-packed affair as both man and machine were pushed to the very limits. The racing was fierce in all 4 categories as the machines battled for every inch of the tarmac. In the end, the 007 Aston Martin got the better of the Pescarolo to take the honours for the first time in 2009. In LMP2, it was victory for the number 30 Racing Box Lola, while Dutchman Peter Cox grabbed the win in GT1. In GT2, the Porsche of Richard Lietz and Mark Lieb got the top prize. In May, the Le Mans Series headed to the famous Francorchamps circuit in Belgium and saw Peugeot making its European debut for 2009. Spa always throws up its fair share of surprises, and more than one got caught out at the start. In a dress rehearsal for the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the factory Peugeots stole the show. Further back, the door-to-door scrapping came to a head as the petrol-powered machines tried in vain to match their diesel-powered rivals. In LMP2, it was the Team Essex Porsche Spider that was untouchable out in front, while the Luc Alphond Adventures Corvette took GT1 honours, and the number 77 Felbermayr Porsche made it 2 from 2 in GT2. The end of the race was marked by the spectacular off of Bruno Senna in the Oreca AIM number 10 machine, with the Brazilian walking away unscathed. But there was no stopping the French Lions, who raced away to a 1-2 finish. In the LMP1 standings ahead of Saturday's race, it's the number 16 Pescarolo Sport leading the way with 2 second-place finishes. It's wide open in LMP2, and there's no room for error with the top 5 covered by just 3 points. It looks a 2-horse race in GT1. The Alphond Adventures Corvette can take a big step towards the title with victory in the Algarve. And finally in GT2, Team Felbermayr Proton are looking to make it 3 from 3 and extend their 6-point lead. The Algarve International Autodromo was inaugurated last year and offers the throngs of holidaymakers the best of both worlds, as Le Mans Series boss Patrick Peter explained.
Here it's a new circuit, a new racetrack with fantastic facilities, clearly very close from the coast, from 10 kilometers from Portimao, but there is no neighbor and they have no problem with that. And I think it's a good occasion during the holidays. The people spend the day in the beach, and for the night they're looking for a new occupation, and I think it's a good idea.
Such a good idea that the sinewy flowing bitumen has already found its way into the hearts of the drivers.
It's an amazing circuit, so technical.
For a driver, it's one of the nicest circuits you can have.
Well, driving in the night will be fantastic.
The last corner is fantastic, really fast.
And I think it'll be fantastic here for a night race. Really challenging.
There's a lot of things very similar to Laguna Seca. Road Atlanta, some parts, even Elkhart Lake.
I think a little bit of Suzuka,
A little bit of, Silverstone. It's kind of mix of a lot of track, but really nice.
As well as the new track, there are also some new faces taking part in round 3 of the Le Mans series, including Spanish ace Fonzi Nieto, better known for his exploits on 2 wheels in MotoGP and World Superbikes. One man that's not here, however, is the GT1 category leader Luc Alphon, whose car made the trip but not the man, after a serious motorcycle accident almost claimed his life.
Luc had a big crash in a motorbike. He went to the hospital for a big operation, and I think he will stay cool during 3 months. So it's bad for the team, but everybody thinking about him.
Julien Jousse will replace Luc until the end of the season in the Le Mans series.
Luc, if you look at us, we will try to win the race for you, my friend.
Get well soon, Lucho. The 1,000 kilometers of Algarve provided the only Portuguese team in the Le Mans Series field that chance to fly the flag on home soil. So who better to show us around the track than the locals of the Quifel ASM team?
Hello, I'm Olivier Pla. Welcome here to Portimao. Very important race for my team. And now you're going to discover a lap on my Ginetta Zytek. So we're going to start the lap by a very long and bumpy straight line. Then we will arrive to hard braking. We're going to drop down in 4 for a very fast corner and immediately flat out at the exit. Then hard braking for the hairpin, drop down to 1st gear. Very hard to find the traction at the exit. For a very quick corner in 3rd gear, flat out also. Then we're going to go to 5th gear for very, very hard braking and very bumpy too, for another hairpin in 1st gear. Exit of the corner, very hard to find the traction. Then we're going to go to 4th gear, flat out corner. Then just a small lift for the right and very hard corner here because it's camber off from the exit, so hard to find traction in 2nd gear. Then we're going to go down for another flat out corner and we're going to arrive to a blind corner. Very hard to find a line to the braking in 2nd gear. Then we're going to go down again. And left is flat. Then another hard braking for 2nd gear. We have to keep the speed in this corner. Also, traction is not easy to find exit. And we're going to go there for a right, very long corner also, so we have to wait to put full throttle. And another blind corner which is flat in 5th gear for going back to the start and finish line.
Now that the locals have given us the lowdown on the track, let's take a look at qualifying, and we start with the GT2s, where it promises to be a fierce battle between the Porsches, Ferraris and Aston Martin. Just over 1 second separated the top 5, with the number 84 Team Modena Ferrari of Antonio Garcia, Leo Mansell and Jaime Mello claiming 3rd behind Rob Bell and Gian Maria Bruni in the JMW Motorsports Ferrari 430 GT. But the Italian stallions were once again edged out by the championship leaders in the number 77 Team Felbermayr Proton Porsche 911 with Richard Lietz at the wheel.
It's very important this year also because you get 1 point for the championship. So first step we have done, and also it's the best situation to start the race. And I'm really happy to do this for my team, you know, because with Mark Lieb I have a fantastic teammate, and Felbermayr Proton team is a very good team. So I have done my job today, and tomorrow it's another day. We have to try the best for the race.
There are just 2 cars competing in the GT1 category at the Algarve, and it was the championship leaders in the Luc Alphon Adventures number 72 Corvette C6R that comfortably picked up pole position with Jan Clary, grabbing top spot by nearly 2 seconds over the number 50 Labra competition Céline. And the good news was immediately relayed back to the boss in France.
Philippe caught him, and Luc is very, very happy. And
I hope he come back not this year, but the next year.
We've already seen that the hometown heroes in LMP2 in the Quiffle ASM team were fast, but the Portuguese outfit dominated their qualifying session. Starting from third, a very promising qualifying session it was for the number 41 GAC racing team. After 2 retirements from strong positions in the first 2 races of the season, the number 25 RML team of Tommy Erdos and Mike Newton will be hoping its 3rd time lucky after steering their Lola Mazda to 2nd. But there was no topping our very own tour guide Olivier Pla, who will be starting on pole after stopping the clock at 1 minute 34.296 seconds before sending out a warning to its rivals.
I think I expect even more from the car during the race, so we should be very, very consistent and very fast. So, well, let's see tomorrow, but anyway, I think it's looking very good for the race, yes, definitely.
In the blue-ribboned LMP1 class, the big boys grabbed the form book and threw it out the window. The championship leaders in the number 16 Pescarolo Sport could only manage the 7th fastest time as the MontyMotorsport Ames threw down the gauntlet. In 3rd place is their number 10 machine of local hero Thiago Monteiro and Bruno Senna. Sandwiched in between are the Catalunya winners in the 007 Aston Martin, whose 009 sister car will start from 5th, just half a second down on the pole time. But the surprise of the early evening session was the performance of Nicolas Lapierre, who piloted the number 11 Oreca into top spot, much to the delight of co-driver Olivier Panis.
First of all, what you say, well done to Nico. He did a fantastic lap. The team doing a very good job during all weekend. I mean, in free practice, we are very competitive. We did a lot of laps with all tires to prepare the race tomorrow. Looks pretty good.
We've already raced around the Algarve circuit on board with Olivier Pla, but now, just minutes before the action got underway, here is the 4.653-kilometre track. Like always, all 4 categories and 35 cars are on the starting grid. It was another tough qualifying for the privateer Coller's Audi team, who, don't forget, are racing last year's 24 Hours of Le Mans winning car. They're down in 6th and 8th place. Before them and the rest of the field, 1,000 kilometres or 6 hours of racing. The 40+ degrees Celsius temperatures of the day under the merciless sun are slowly making way for the night, and it's up to the drivers and their endurance machines to keep temperatures at boiling point out on the track. As you're about to see, there were no problems there. The 35-car field came around the spectacular final bend and onto the start-finish straight for the first time, led by the Oreca Aim with pole setter Nicolas Lapierre at the wheel. It was a clean getaway for most, with the number 11 Oreca holding Stefan Muka at bay in the number 007 Aston Martin. The Orecas were 1 and 3, sandwiching the Aston as the field roared its way through the first turns. Barcelona pole-sitting number 23 Stracker Racing Janetta Zytek nestled into 4th place, looking for a good result after missing out at the last round in Spa. The number 77 and 88 Felbermeyer Porsches both suffered rear punctures on the opening lap. Having set a deceptively slow qualifying time, the number 16 Pescarolo Sport Judd was immediately into the action. Jean-Christophe Bouillon taking the challenge to the Audis. Having set a deceptively slow qualifying time, the number 16 Pescarolo Sport Judd was immediately onto the attack. Jean-Christophe Bouillon taking the challenge to the Audis. The Kohler's team has been steadily improving, but the diesel-powered R10 TDI found no match for the straight-line speed of the Pescarolo. Christian Backerud opening the door at the start of lap 2. As the Pescarolo raced off in search of the leaders, the two Audis were left to race amongst themselves. Barely 15 minutes into the race and already preparing to lap the GT2 Saleen, and disaster struck. Andy Meyrick in the number 14 lost the rear end after touching the brakes before he slammed into teammate Bakkerud. The German crew called into action much earlier than expected, and the full extent of the damage quickly became apparent. The number 15 car was to spend more than an hour in the garage before rejoining. It was to be even longer for the sister car. Meanwhile, at the front, Muka's Aston was all over the back of Lapierre's Oreca. And with just over 20 minutes of the race gone, the English machine powered into the lead. He was able to make it stick. And Lapierre was about to get burned a second time, but this time from petrol leaking down his back. Having just lost the lead, the pole sitter was to lose another whole lap as mechanics tried to solve the problem.
I think a problem with the fuel tank, and we lose a little fuel, which makes a problem for the back of the driver. So we have probably a leak of petrol somewhere on the car.
Further back in the LMP2 class, our friends Olivier Pla and Miguel Amiral in the number 40 Quifel ASM Ginetta were holding sway at the front. Already keeping company with the GAC Racing number 40 for what was to be a race-long affair. At the front, the 007 Aston was being pushed to the very limit by Bruno Senna. And as the front two made their way through traffic, they were joined by the impressive Stracker racing machine with Danny Watts, looking to prove that 3 isn't necessarily a crowd. In a straight line, the Aston appeared to have the edge on its rivals, but the never-ending traffic meant it couldn't make its advantage tell. In GT1, the Alphond Adventures Corvette C6R clearly had the drop on their sole rival in the number 50 Saleen, and it appeared, even this early on, that only a mechanical failure could deprive the French outfit of 11 championship points. After the unscheduled stop for the GT2 championship leaders from Felbermeyer Proton, it was another Porsche that took up the mantle in the form of Patrick Pillet's number 76, Imsa Matmut. But the Ferraris hadn't had their last word. After the best part of an hour out on track, the setting sun was to become another element for the drivers to contend with. For Stefan Muka, in the lead 007 Aston, he was about to have his hands and rear vision mirrors full with the charging Jean-Christophe Bouillon in the Pescarolo. The French outfit already up to second after starting from 7th on the grid. The battle raged for over 20 minutes of nose-to-tail cat and mouse before finally the pressure told, and it was Muka that came unstuck. His team was at the ready, but the German ace quickly had the car back out on track and back into the action after sowing a little gravel reminder of his misfortune across the track. Le Mans winning and team boss Henri Pascarolo had set a plan in place, and it was paying off. The number 16 car, looking to improve on its 2 second places so far this season, had clearly sacrificed qualifying to find the perfect race setup, and now the benefits were there to see. The number 15 Audi was the first of the German growlers back on the track. It's been a steep learning curve for the Le Mans Series debutants, but as we're about to see, at least they're having fun.
Hello, my name is Christian Elbers, and I'm inviting you at Collis Audi team. This is our car. We are with 3 drivers on one car. It's Baccarat and Mondini and myself. It's a V12 diesel engine with some less power now than last year. It's a shame. We have pedal shifts. The car is really good to drive. It's close to a Formula 1 car. These are the mechanics. This is the other car, where is Kateke driving, Merrick, Swolsman, with the same car. Most of the time we are a little bit quicker, hopefully today also. So we go have a look at the team. We have less stuff with us than normally because Portugal is really far away. So these are the guys, the engine guys. They're German, so be careful. No. They are checking if everything is okay. If there's no plastic coming in the side pods or sand or gravel, that the temperature goes up, then they get warnings, and they can also help us a little bit with tuning the engine a little bit, that we go quicker through the race. And these are the data engineers. This is my crazy engineer. This is the playboy of the team. Hello, this is Mr. Giorgio Mondini. Look, he had some tan, he had some holiday. This is Jos Klaas, he's the worst engineer ever. I don't know why he's working in this team, but I think there was no place anymore, so we gave him a seat here. And this is the chief of Audi here in our team. So he never gives a statement because he's afraid for, for the factory. And it was it. And there was the Michelin guys who are giving us really good tires sometimes. And if we are in the back, the tires are not good. You understand why. I've showed you a little bit the team. I didn't show you all the secrets we have, but I think quite a lot. So maybe it's now time you get the beep out of here.
The weekend had started so well for the GT2 championship leaders in the number 77 Felbermayr Porsche, with Richard Lietz grabbing a hotly disputed class pole position. But the first lap contact came back to haunt them as their rear right suspension saw their chances of victory sink faster than the setting sun. From here on in, it was to become a damage control operation for the German team, who could feel the Ferraris of Team Modena and JMW Motorsport breathing down their necks. The last of the sun's rays disappeared beyond the horizon, replaced by the piercing headlights and glowing disc brakes as man and beast drove into the night. While the cat's away, the mouse will play. And in GT2, the mice were producing more than 450 horsepower as the number 92 F430 stripped the number 84 of second place. The Italian stallions both trying to reel in Patrick Pillay in the IMSA Matmut Porsche and the German Mark Stranglehold on the class. At third race distance and 67 laps in, just 2 seconds separated the two Ferraris in second and third, but they were over a minute down on the category leader. At the same time, in GT1, the Alphond Adventures Corvette was still in command. A lap to the good over the Saleen, but obviously no match for the power and speed of the LMP2 cars, as the number 30 Racing Box Lola Judd eased past into third in its category. Thomas Biaggi's number 30 machine was enjoying a lap's lead over its fourth-place teammate and had its sights set on second-place Zytek of Karim OJ in the number 41. The Swiss-based team was running strong in Spa before it retired, and it was looking good to build on its solitary point from a sixth-place finish in Catalunya back in round one. Out in front of the LMP2s was the Portuguese outfit of Miguel Amaral and Olivier Pla, the pair producing a flying performance despite the added pressure of carrying the host country's hopes on their shoulders. After a brilliant start which threatened to see Danny Watts steal into the lead of LMP1, the fortunes of the number 23 Ginetta took a dive. But not even a misfiring engine could dampen the team's spirits after tasting life at the front.
The car's fast enough, there's no doubt about that. I think we're going quite well. Traffic's everything. I mean, you can lose a lot of time, then you can gain a lot of time. It's cat and mouse, really. Unfortunately, lost the position to Jean-Christophe Bouillon, but he had a mega run through the final corner where I got caught up in traffic. But, I mean, it's a long race, and just want to keep it going, but unfortunately, this has set us back.
But unfortunately, the problem just wouldn't go away, and after 2 hours and 8 minutes of the 6-hour endurance marathon, it was lights out for the number 23. Problems for the 007 Aston appeared to be behind them. Jan Charouz had taken over the controls from Stefan Muka, and the British machine was on the charge and back up to third. In second place, Bruno Senna made way for Portuguese hero Tiago Monteiro. But as we'd already seen, danger can lurk behind any one of the circuit's 3 blind crests. In this case, in the form of a number 24 Oak Racing Pescarolo Mazda. As the clock ticked towards half-race distance, the Pescarolo Sport had stayed out of trouble and opened up a 1-minute lead over the chasing pair. Pit lane was the central nervous system of the sinewy circuit, with drivers being pushed to the very limit in the demanding conditions and increasingly trying to stay out of trouble on the track. It was team strategists that pulled the strings and the mechanics that did their bidding. Places won and places lost, and during the toing and froing, the early race leader, the 007 Aston, climbed another place, but not yet close enough to stake a claim for the lead. 500 kilometers down, 500 to go. The Pescarolo Sport number 16, a lap clear of the 007 Aston. Pierre Raguez and Frank Mayer were up to an impressive 4th in their signature Plus Oreca Judd. In LMP2, the Portuguese Ginetta Zytek was still in front. Luke Alphon's replacement, Julian Jus, was at the wheel of the GT1 leading Corvette C6R, while in GT2, the super consistent Ferraris had used the pit lane musical chairs to edge in front. A brand new circuit as technically challenging as the Algarve can pose more than the odd problem to even the most experienced driver. But when you add the element of darkness, it truly is a trip into the unknown where pitfalls can lie in wait at any moment.
Very difficult because of the dark conditions, unknown track, and it's very difficult with prototypes with the hills. So here more than anywhere it's difficult, but it's the same for everyone.
This is no circuit for the faint-hearted. Uphill and down dale through blind corners like countless Laguna Seca corkscrews back to back. It's not only a physical challenge for the drivers.
I'm kind of exhausted. Not physically, but mentally. It's a very difficult track. And also, when you have a lot of people coming behind you trying to pass, especially LMP2, LMP1s, it's very difficult. They try to overtake you at very difficult places. So I tried to do my best, but I could see that I was suffering in the car with the LMP1s trying to pass. So I'm exhausted. I'm happy I'm done with the racing.
The circuit is tight and twisty like Valencia in neighboring Spain. Add to that the 35 cars overpopulating this 4.5-kilometer loop, and this was endurance racing in every sense of the word.
It's a
bit tougher to do 2 stints here than 2 stints at Le Mans, because it's just corners and corners and corners. And even on the straights, you don't rest very much because it's so bumpy. You have to hold the steering wheel straight and tight. And yeah, so much overtaking, and in the night especially, some people don't see you, so it's very stressful and straining.
The powerful headlights, a blinding white for the LMP machines and a fiery yellow on the GT monsters, are also causing their fair share of headaches for the Le Mans Series gladiators.
The prototype lights is quite high, and it's quite bright as well, so that's when hit our mirror, it's really hard to see the track and to see where they are coming. But that's the life. We need to drive like that.
Nighttime invariably means lower temperatures, cooler air flowing through the engine, and that means it works better and goes faster. But as we've already heard, there's just no time to enjoy it.
Our car, we found during the night, gets better and better. So I think that'll help us. The biggest thing is concentration and not get caught up in any traffic like you've seen the Aston do. Just keep reeling off the laps without any trouble.
Vision was starting to take its toll on man and machine. The number 43 Q8 Oils Hash team hadn't escaped the werewolf's curse. Not that it worried debutant Fonzi Nieto, who's seen it all before. But that was on 2 wheels.
It's completely different. I raced last year here in Superbikes. It's my first experience with cars, but for sure it's a great time for me. And I try to make it again in the night, and we'll see what happens.
As Nieto bided his time, his girlfriend, Carmen Yorda, handed over the wheel to Maximo Cortez. The tyres were taking a beating, and Christophe Tanceau, at the controls of the lead car, decided to cut his losses and cut his stint short for a fuel and tyre change. The result, though, meant relinquishing top spot to the Aston, whose quick pitting was paying big dividends. Almost 2 minutes less spent in the pits for the 007 car, albeit for 1 less stop. The top 3 were all suddenly on the lead lap, with Thiago Monteiro flirting with second place before being squeezed into a mistake in the treacherous traffic. The spin meant a trip to the pits to hand back over to Bruno Senna ahead of schedule. And when he hopped out of the car, he received an electric shock so strong he needed treatment. In GT2, Raymond Narak's Porsche had climbed back into second, but the effort was starting to show. The running repairs quickly had the car back out and sandwiched between the 2 Ferrari F430s. In GT1, the Luke Alphon tribute drive was still going according to plan. The championship leaders comfortably clear of the number 50 Labra competition Saleen. 2/3 race distance, the 007 car was showing great resistance at the front. 42 seconds up on second place Pescarolo, and that was in turn just 12 seconds to the good of the number 10 Oreca. Of course, after his great bluff in qualifying, endurance racing legend Henri Pescarolo still had another race, or rather pit stop, up his sleeve. In LMP2, it was the number 40 Ginetta Zytek still leading, as it had done from the opening lap after setting off from the class pole position. In GT2, it was almost impossible to keep pace with all the lead switches as the cars exchanged more and more frequent pit stops and wrestled with more and more used rubber. How often in motor racing has a race been won or lost on a tyre choice? Well, here in Portugal, it wasn't so much the choice as how you looked after your rubber. And as you can see, it wasn't always easy to stay out of trouble. A gaping 37 laps down on their championship rivals who were battling for the lead. For the Felbermayr Proton team, tyre troubles probably seemed like paradise. This lightning-quick car struck down after scorching away to wins in Catalonia and Spa.
Hello, my name is Mark Lieb, and welcome to Algarve, Portugal, and I'm going to introduce you now our 911 GT3 RSR. So when you look at the car, it's definitely significant. The aerodynamic package in the front, we have the flicks here, produce front downforce, and we have a flat floor underneath the car. Also for the rear, we have the big wing with plenty positions we can choose. In Algarve, we run quite high downforce. The track is quite twisty and everything, so we have to run a high downforce configuration. As you can see, we run traditionally in the 911 the flat 6 engine with a 4-point-liter, and it produces about 450 horsepower with the restrictors. Without the restrictor, we could have probably have 100 horsepower more. So, but that's the regulations, and that's what we have to run. So for the cockpit inside, as you can see, it's pretty hot outside in Algarve. This year, lucky we have air conditioning. We can switch off here on the switch, and basically we have quite a lot of functions in the car. As you can see, the steering wheel gives us the track map we can see here. We have the buttons for the traction control, we can use it. We have the radio button where we can communicate to the pits. We can change the dash light also. We can use high beams, and we have a drink button where we can drink something. And of course, when we come into the pits, the pit speed limiter, which is very important as well. Yeah, as you can see, it's quite a nice seat position. It's quite comfortable, and with the air conditioning, the temperatures are not that high. We have about 37 degrees Celsius inside with the air conditioning. Without the air conditioning, it would have been much higher. We just tried it before, and we had about 55 Celsius inside, which is quite a lot, and so we are very lucky to have the air conditioning. This track is it's quite special. I mean, we have quite a lot of up and downs, and it's basically not much different that we're running the car in Spa from setup-wise. We just have to look a little bit more after the tires because of the hot conditions. So that was hopefully a nice tour for you, and let's see us on the racetrack, and hopefully for a good, fun and hard race in Portugal, Algarve.
As Mark Lieb wanted, it was a good, fun and hard race, but perhaps not quite how he imagined it. As the kilometers fell away, the lead continued to chop and change in LMP1 and GT2, where the JMW Motorsports number 92 Ferrari F430 was back in top spot but being hungrily chased by the Team Modena number 84. The number 40 was still in LMP2 front spot and edging ever closer to a maiden win in the Le Mans Series for the Kiefel ASM team. With the finish line in sight, the cars stormed into the final hour. Pescarolo's early pit stop wizardry had seen the number 16 get Jean-Christophe Bouillon behind the wheel and back in front of the top liners. The 007 Aston followed, still pushing hard, despite the ever-present danger of catching a backmarker unawares. In third, Bruno Senna was also on the charge. The top three all on the lead lap and 2 laps clear of the pole-sitting Oreca of Lapierre and Panis in fourth. After their disastrous start to the race, the privateer Audi team Collers in the hugely successful R10 TDI at least had both cars out on track. Despite all the setbacks, the number 15 car was lapping within a second of the leader's times, albeit 23 laps down. In LMP2, there was to be no further change at the front of the race, where Pla and Amaral had opened up a 2-lap lead over the number 29 racing box Lola Judd. Despite a late stop for the Italian team, their consistent no-risks approach paid off as they snuck into second place. After an incredibly grueling and draining effort, the Swiss team from GAC Racing in their Zytek registered their first podium finish in the Le Mans Series. It was to be likewise in GT1, and after a far less eventful race than the first two of the season, the Alphand Adventures number 72 didn't make the mistake that could cost them an emotional victory. The Labre competition Céline was never in the hunt, having qualified nearly 2 seconds slower than the race winner. After another trip to the pits, the Céline eventually took the checkered flag 21 laps down on the winner. The cover of darkness and the absence of a competitive Felbermayr Porsche had seen the GT2s run amok. But when the dust settled, it was the number 84 Team Modena Ferrari that fell 1 place short of matching their second-place Spa finish. After missing out in Catalonia and finishing 6th in Spa, the IMSA Matmut Porsche continued its improved form with a second-place finish here. The defending champions Rob Bell and Gian-Maria Bruni, now with JMW Motorsports, finally got over the line after 6 hours of racing, but just 5.512 seconds in front. The only result still in question then was the top class, the LMP1s, and it appeared the number 16 Pescarolo was home and hosed. Until the team realized the car didn't have enough fuel to make the finish. It was going to take a good old-fashioned splash and dash to get home, and it was going to be close.
We need to stop again one time. Every time is a risk to stop again one time, so cross my finger. All things are very good, but we have a time to stop and restart and stay behind Aston Martin. So now a lot of pressure in my heart. Sorry about it.
Jean-Christophe Bouillon, the hero of the first charging stint, dove into the pits. Pescarolo fans holding their breath. Everything went according to plan. Before he stalled. After a moment's consternation, he managed to get going after just the slightest stutter. The Aston Martin was pushing hard, but there was to be no way back. two second places, the number 16 Pescarolo Judd earned its first win of the 2009 season and became the first night race winner in Le Mans Series history. Settling for second. Mixed feelings in the English camp, who were left thinking what could have been.
One more.
Meanwhile, it was all smiles in the Oreca camp, where their young guns, Bruno Senna and Thiago Monteiro, led their sister car home to claim the bottom step of the podium. The Pescarolo Sport getting the win in LMP1. No problems for the Ginetta Zytek in LMP2. The Corvette C6R of Luke Alphond Adventures getting the nod in GT1, while in GT2 it was the Ferraris from JMW Motorsports. The first ever Le Mans Series night race, the first ever Le Mans Series race at the Algarve International Autodromo, and it saw a first victory of the season for the Pescarolo Sport number 16.
We are especially pleased for the team because they have done a great job after Le Mans to try to improve the car, and the car was just fantastic today, so we have to congratulate the team first.
The win sees Pescarolo's 2-point lead become 4 over the 007 Aston Martin, with the number 10 Oreca in third. LMP2 finally saw the hometown heroes get across the line. The consistent Italians in the racing box Lola Judd grabbed second, while in the end the number 41 GAC Racing Team Zytek just couldn't maintain its early pace for the duration. Despite revealing they'd broken their rear suspension 2 laps from the end, the Portuguese Kifel ASM team had enough of a lead to get across the line.
We are extremely happy for the victory first, because we were pursuing it since the beginning of the season, and obviously for the fact that it was in Portugal, so we are 2 times happy.
In a title race that's still too close to call, the first win of the season for Amaral and Pla now sees them 6 points clear of their nearest rival. Of the 2 cars that took the start in GT1, the Luke Alphond team, determined to give their incapacitated boss the best get-well message possible, they never gave the number 50 Céline from Labre competition a look in. And in the absence of the Corvette's biggest rival, the Spartak Racing Lamborghini, the French-based C6R has taken a big step towards the title.
We make a really good race, and we are just 2 cars, but we push all the time. I never sleep, and it's very good for Luc because he's not here, but this is a good race for him, and I hope we have more cars in Nurburgring, and we try to win the championship at Nurburgring.
With the bonus point for the category pole, the Team Alphond Adventures 12-point haul means no matter what, they'll be leading into the final round at Silverstone. In the GT2 class, the Felbermayr Proton team and Porsche's 100% records were brought to a grinding halt, with the JMW Motorsports Ferrari F430 GT of reigning champs Bell and Bruni registering their first win of the campaign. But it was the Italian machine getting over the line. The win sees the Bell-Bruni duo jump ahead of the Felbermayr Proton and into top spot, while Team Modena make it a 3-horse race. After the Bruce Ladish Bruno in Catalonia and the Team Essex Spider in Spa, it was the Italian outfit Racing Box and their Lola Judd, driven by Ceccato, Francioni and Piccini, that took out the Michelin Green X Challenge, that rewards the team with the best ratio of fuel efficiency and performance out on the track. 3 down and 2 to go, and from the new to the old, the Le Mans Series heads to one of the traditional homes of European motorsports, the legendary Nurburgring, for round 4 in just 3 weeks' time. See you then.